watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.
So I'm joined here by Stuart Murphy. Thank you for joining me, Stuart.
You're very welcome, Regan. Good to be here this afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a big match this afternoon at Tynecastle Park. Obviously, first of all, just tell me your thoughts on that match. It finished 3-1 to the home team.
Well, I don't think it was a major surprise that Hearts managed to win the game. I think the writing's been on the wall a wee bit over the last few weeks, clearly about form for both sides of the Old Firm and Celtic. We know about the disquiet that's happening there. But what I thought this afternoon was that Hearts started the match. I don't know what they'd been on, but the energy levels were just off the scale. The first few minutes was just sensational. And actually, for the neutral or for a non-Old Firm fan, it's a shot in the arm for the game, actually, just to see what looks at this stage early. And we're only in October, remember. It's still October. We're not even out of October yet. But it looks very much like this is a credible challenge. If they can maintain that over the next wee bit, and if I'm right, I think Celtic play the semi-final next Sunday, and Hearts have got a home game on the Saturday. So by this time next week, we could be looking at a different point differential again. So well done, Hearts. I think it was good for Celtic. I'm not sure where they go from here. I thought the team selection was a bit odd. A very young backline when he had different options. I felt a bit sorry for the laddie Murray. He was kind of thrown in there, and then the one goal, and of course then the penalty later on. So it doesn't look like it was a good managerial decisions, and it's not like Brendan Rodgers got his problems to seek when it comes to that anyway. So not a good day for Celtic, but a fantastic day for Hearts.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the home team played incredibly well. And we're joined by Robbie as well. Thank you for joining me again, Robbie.
Another one. Good to see you guys. How we doing?
Doing well. I mean, just tell us about your thoughts in the game.
I have. It's hard not to echo what Phil was saying. I think Hearts first and foremost deserved the win. I thought they were excellent in the second half performances. Probably the best I've watched all season for any team in the league, to be honest. I thought they handled themselves absolutely brilliant. But I think he's right. The players in that Celtic lineup, for me, that I think it's a bit unfair, getting flung into a situation like that. And I think there's obviously people in the squad that maybe could have took, like Murray's place, for example. But for me, there's players in that Celtic team that needs to take accountability and responsibility for that. This is a Celtic team for me. I don't think they are as strong as they've maybe been in previous seasons. But it's a Celtic team that should be able to go away to Dens Park and win. It's a team that should be able to go to Hearts and at least put in a better performance. And for me, they're just not doing that. So I think there's a lot of stuff surrounding Celtic right now. And obviously, there's been a lot of talk previous weeks about the board, Rodgers, players. I think if you look at that performance today, I think first and foremost, the players have got to take some huge responsibility for that.
Yeah,
I also think, Robbie, sorry, Regan, I was going to say something there just about the Honda Civic comment and the Ferrari thing. That can come home to roost, I think, for Brendan Rodgers, because what he's really saying to the squad there, he doesn't have any faith and belief in them. Now, we know what he said to the board, and we understand it must be terrible only having about 20 million quid to spend in the summer. I mean, he should be. Robbie makes a great point. I was at the game last Sunday at Dens Park, and they were really poor.
Yes.
We're no great shakes, right? And we were comfortable Sunday, and extremely comfortable. So I think if he breaks the dressing room, he's got to manage up and he's got to manage down. So he's got to manage his board, right? He doesn't seem to be doing that. Certainly, first and foremost, he's got to manage his team. It doesn't look like he's doing that either. And when you make a comment about the Honda Ferrari stuff, you're dropping the minute,
Yeah, I mean, just wanted to ask you, Stuart, see in terms of that, see in terms of the match at Dens Park last week. I mean, I thought Celtic would have played until next Sunday and not scored a goal. I don't know if you agree being at the match, but I just felt like Celtic could have played for another 7 days and not scored.
Do you know what was different, guys, a wee bit about last week? And it's a really funny thing because I had a conversation with Ian Maxwell at the beginning of the week after the game about something else, and we talked about the game and asked him if he'd seen it. But I was asking him to remember how many times the Dundee goalkeeper had rolled the ball to the right-sided defender, the centre half, or the left-sided defender, and the answer is 0. Now, it wasn't exactly route one, but what was happening was all this tippy-tappy stuff from the back. It seemed to disrupt Celtic. Celtic were probably... I can't understand why teams attempt, when they're playing a better quality team, to play the same kind of pattern of football. Hearts were much more direct again today, and it's almost as if Celtic can't cope with that disruption. It's almost like they're programmed to play in a particular way, and any time that the momentum changes or that impetus changes, then it's not exactly Wimbledon Route 1 tactics, but it's not far off it. It's energy and it's press, but it's none of this tippy-tappy stuff, because Dundee ain't Barcelona, and to be fair, neither are Hearts, so they didn't need to be doing that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, and I think we should bring in Graham at this point. Graham, I spoke to you on Thursday night. You were very confident. And obviously, I was confident that Hearts were going to win. I said that to you on Thursday, but I did predict Celtic just to try and be positive for myself. But I did say to you that I felt that your squad would go on and win the game. But tell us about your thoughts on the game, Graham.
We shall not be moved. That's my thoughts on that game. Oh my word, I'm buzzing. You can probably tell by that. Yeah, to be honest, I thought we started the game really well. On the front foot, pressed really high, which is what I wanted. Got the early goal, unfortunate for Dane Murray. But after that, I thought Celtic took control. Once McGregor got the equaliser, I thought we fell off a little bit, and it took us about 25 minutes to get back into the game. I said before the game, I said in the build-up to it, for me, I'm giving the ball to Kizarides as much as possible. Let him take on Donovan or Ralston. It was Donovan this time. He was our biggest threat, and they showed that second half. Every time we got the ball to Kizarides, there was a threat. It was an absolute massive threat. Celtic defensively, of course, were not great. They've got a lot of young laddies there, like Scales, Murray, Donovan. But Hearts capitalised on that. And I thought second half, we got to grips with McGregor, didn't let him dominate, which I think he was doing in that kind of after he got the equaliser, he started to dominate. We got to grips with him, and then I thought Hearts were comfortable. I didn't think we were a massive threat going forward after we got the third goal, but we didn't have to be. But we were very comfortable. And honestly, I keep on saying this. Yes, it's 8 points, but I said this before on TikTok and Twitter. There's 29 games to go. There's a lot of games to go. Yes, it's great. I'm very excited, but it's a big, big win. It's a massive win. The confidence boost Hearts get from that, the confidence boost McInnes gets from that is huge. Absolutely massive.
So, Graham, I'll ask you this then. So you're still taking it match by match, but surely you must be dreaming of second place then, because you're now 16 points ahead of Rangers. 16 points is a lot of points.
I mean, that's mental. 16 points ahead this time this season, given how bad we were last season. Like I said this to you the other day, Reagan. At this point last season, at this stage we had 5 points, rock bottom of the league, and everyone was saying Hearts could get relegated. The change in 12 months has been incredible, and it's down to McInnes. Yes, it's down to recruitment, but McInnes has changed the mentality, and that today was far, far better. I mean, honestly, I said it during half-time. McGregor was getting more involved in the game, and I thought we have to stop him, and we did that. Clearly at half-time, the realisation was we need to stop McGregor, but to be this many points clear, again, I've said it to you already, Reagan, I think second place is definitely up there. I'm not going to say the title's there because it's too early, but what a start. 9 games played, unbeaten. We've now scored 39 goals in all competitions. It's unbelievable. What a start. Nobody expected this. No Hearts fan expected this. And if they tell you they did, they're liars, because I did not expect this.
So, Graham, who else stood out for you today?
There's so many players I could pick from, but I have to say I thought Cammy Devlin yet again was outstanding. That laddie's level this season has gone up since McInnes came in. The only surprise is that Cammy Devlin managed to get through a whole game without getting booked. But I thought he was brilliant. I know Kizridis was great, but generally for me, I thought Devlin was outstanding. He's been phenomenal, honestly. I think the change in him has been unbelievable. What a performance from him. So I'm saying Cammy Devlin, I thought was man of the match for me.
I thought Wayne Murray had a good performance for Hearts today, but no, in all seriousness, I think you could genuinely pick out any of the Hearts players. As one that really impressed me, Graham, was Craig Halkett. I thought, again, he was exceptional at the back, defended most things really, really well, and I think you could say that about the whole back four. I thought they just looked so comfortable in the game, but bar the sort of goal when I suppose you give Celtic the credit because they played it about quite nicely and it was a really good finish for McGregor. Bar that, they didn't really look threatened at all.
Graham, I was going to say just a moment ago that your comments about Devlin are, for me, they're bang on the money, because I've never seen Cal McGregor get so annoyed and aggressive with anybody when he's been playing as he did on that little head-to-head he had with him. So it was clear that he was noising them up. I mean, had that wee spat and it went on for a wee bit, and Cal McGregor wasn't happy and he didn't calm down. And so for me, I'm with you. It would be hard to pick a man of the match for Hearts, but he'd certainly be top of my list.
Yeah. And obviously, Graham, I thought when you scored early, I felt like you were creating the chances after that as well. And I just want to talk to you about the mentality of the squad as well. Because to go back to when the score was a draw, Celtic were on top of the game, they had that great chance from Nygren. But I thought you dealt with it well.
Yeah, I mean, the chance that Nygren has to go 2-1 up, I think he should probably score. It's a big opportunity. It's a mistake from Swallow in the first place, gives the ball away. And I thought Nygren probably should have just hammered that, but he tries to chip it. It's a good save, but I think that was a big opportunity. But even before that, I think Hearts had a chance to go 2-1 up. The ball at the back post that Milne just couldn't quite get to, it was deflected. But that was a big chance for Celtic, because if they go 2-1 up at that point, you do maybe think, oh, maybe that might be it for Hearts. But I always feel I'm not for a while with Hearts. I've always felt with this Hearts team, we've got a real threat going forward. I've said it before, Lawrence Franklin has been fantastic, but if he's not scoring, we've got nothing else. But we don't have that issue now. We've got so many goal threats. We are so good going forward. As I said, we've now got 13 goals this season. We've got such a goal threat in every game this season. Honestly, it's been the start that I hoped for, but the start that I did not expect.
Graham, you've got to be pretty confident coming to this Miser on Wednesday, not having to face Alex Gogic. I know you don't particularly like him at the back, and you've never really liked playing against him. And I think you've got to take confidence. I mean, not to big up my team, but I think Hearts have notoriously always struggled at this Miser. I know most teams do, and they always struggle at St Mirren, and it's obviously one of the grounds that teams get playing against. But if you're Hearts, you've got to be fully confident that you're going to St Mirren on Wednesday, looking to go and get 3 points again.
I mean, Alec Gogic turns into prime Maldini against Hearts. I don't know why that is. I was delighted he got sent off yesterday. I was buzzing with that. But it's going to be a tough game. Our record in Paisley is not overly impressive. Our only defeat so far has been St Mirren in the Cup. We've still not lost in 90 minutes yet, but it's going to be a tough game. I'm under no illusion it's going to be a tough game. I do think that Hearts will make changes after today. It's been 5 games in a row we've kept the same team. I do think we'll make changes. But again, something I keep saying, we've got a really good squad. We've got a good squad. We've got a big squad. We've got plenty of players that can come in. You look at Ajay who came off the bench today. Kaborian never got off the bench. You've got so many options there. So I do think we'll change it on Wednesday. But honestly, to go into that game, 8 points clear is incredible. And the fact that after that we've got 2 home games against Dundee and Dundee United. Now, I'd expect to beat Dundee at home. United could be tricky. They're a decent side. But the momentum that gives us going into that game on Wednesday is absolutely massive. And I think as well, I don't think after Wednesday, obviously, Celtic don't play next week. So we've got another big opportunity to go further clear. Honestly, it's been such an incredible start. Given what I said after last season was so poor. But St Mirren's going to be tough. I've got no illusion about that. It's going to be a very difficult game.
Stuart, I know you need to go in a few minutes. So what are you thinking about Dundee so far?
I'm just glad that we've got an easy game next Saturday, Regan. I'm quite chuffed with that, because we could do a shoey in 3 points. You don't know what you're getting from Dundee from week to week, to be honest with you. We've got periods in games where they play okay. There are periods where they're absolutely abysmally awful. Yesterday was a classic example of first half on top, probably could have scored another goal, going in 2-0, and then there was a penalty play that was a bit of gnashing of teeth about the lack of VAR involvement, etc., etc. But then Falkirk just stepped it up, and by the 90 minutes, they deserved their victory. But did anybody see the bounce of the ball on the second goal? Has anybody seen the goal? It flies in the air. It takes 3 Dundee players. It's got backspin on it, and the guy runs on it and scores the second goal. But that's not an excuse. It's just inconsistency. But I've got to say they're better than they've been. Now, on the crapometer, I'm not sure where that puts us, right? But let's say, Graham, I wouldn't be counting your chickens with next Saturday, because Scottish football's got that horrible, horrible habit of when somebody's flying high and it looks great for the trip up to come in the least expected place. And of course, we've got history of doing that to you guys way back when. So for your sake, I hope that doesn't happen. But we're desperate for the points now, because at half time we were third. That's crazy stuff, isn't it? We were third in the league at half time yesterday. That's nuts.
Stuart, I mean, I was speaking to a Dundee fan yesterday, talking about Stephen Presley. What are you making of the job he's doing? Obviously, I was a little bit surprised last week how quiet he was. He wasn't like celebrating. Maybe that's just maybe he's the way he is, but I don't know. I don't know if it's a personality.
Regan, I'm not sure how much influence he's having there at all. There was a really poor home crowd last week. There was more backroom staff in the dugout than there was in the Bobby Cox stand, right? I don't know where he's getting all this support team from, but there's lots of them. And allegedly what happened in the week was there was a clear the air conversation between the players and the manager where he allowed them to express themselves. So it's a completely different team that went on the park against Celtic than been going on the park before. And before Graham came on, Graham was saying that the tactics last week, not once did the goalkeeper roll the ball out to full back or centre back. It wasn't quite route one, but the goalkeeper kicked every single time. And then it was second ball stuff. And I just wonder if that conversation about the change in approach and tactics had anything to do with that victory, apart from the fact Celtic were poor. And Hearts kind of noised them up in a similar way today. So maybe they took some lessons from how we'd approached that last week. But you can't play against teams that are better quality than you by playing the same pattern of game. You've got to mix it up. So whether the players had an influence in that change of tactics, I don't know, Regan. But all I know is that something happened. And there was a different appetite shown yesterday as well. So although they lost, there's some shoots of hope there. But we've got a really hard run of games coming up. So we've got Hearts, because we've played that extra game. So we don't have a midweek game. So we've got Hearts away, then we've got Rangers at home. So there's a few games coming up now we could have done with those 3 points yesterday. That ludicrously being third at half time yesterday is the way it could have ended, because there was a lot of late goals in the league yesterday that changed how that looked. But after the start we had, can you imagine if been sitting third going out the match today? That would have just been nuts.
Stuart, can I just ask you about Jan Dander? Because obviously at Hearts, they didn't get a lot of opportunities. I quite like Jan Dander. I thought it was going to be a good signing. When he went to Dundee, I thought he was going to give Dundee that extra bit of creativity without obviously Luke McKeown. But it doesn't seem like he started a lot of games. Is he having any effect on Dundee at all?
Yes, he has, Graham. He's weakened the team each time he's played. And that's a hard shift, right, to be able to do that, because he started off so poor. I don't know if it's match fitness. I don't know if it's just his level of commitment, but he feels a very luxury type of player for what we're needing at the moment. Other thing is the manager seems to be playing him kind of wide to the left-hand side, which I'm not quite sure what that's all about. So he's kind of boxed in. Not really on the wing, but he's not playing in a central area where he should be linking the play and different things like that. But fans have not taken to him, Graham. I wouldn't be surprised if it continued like this, if he was going back in January. That's how poor he's been. But like everything else, you wait. There's a player in there, because I remember him at Ross County. I remember him, being that fulcrum in the middle of the pitch, receiving the ball, linking the play up. But we've seen no evidence of that since he's came to Dundee. But bear in mind, he's came in a team that's pretty depressed in its outlook. So maybe flamboyance and creativity is not the percentage game we should be playing at the minute. But no, I'm sorry, he's been poor.
It's interesting you say that, because I actually thought he was one of the players when Dundee travelled to Paisley the other week. I thought he was one of the maybe players that Dundee were missing. I thought there was no a lot going forward. I thought Danda would have maybe helped that, and I suppose Simon Murray was obviously a big miss as well. But it is interesting to hear he has been getting on so poor. When, at least when I've watched Dundee, it looks like a player that they've maybe been missing in that team. Yeah,
and I was through that day, Robbie. I was at Paisley that day watching the game with you. And I just thought that they needed something like that day as well. But again, the team selection was quite weird that day. So it seems to be, and I don't think Saints were particularly brilliant. They didn't have to be. I think there was a point to be had in that game if we pushed it a wee bit more. There was a couple of across the face of the goal efforts second half and stuff, and there was no Simon Murray obviously on the end of that. So there's a couple of missing links there for Dundee, but I wouldn't be writing them off. I just wouldn't have. We showed enough last Sunday, and in bits of games, and like I say, ridiculously, we could have been third in the league if those results had gone the same way. But sadly, we're not. We are back down second, third, bottom.
Yeah, I mean, do you see a long-term future for Presley? Because I think he's a very good coach, but I don't actually know what wanted him the job in the first place.
Gordon Strachan.
Yeah. So since the Americans have taken over, there have been, you can't fault the level of investment in the club. It's been huge. But the appointments have been, in terms of managerial appointments, I mean, the Jim McIntyres of this world, Stephen Presley as well, you shake your head sometimes. So there's things happening behind the scenes. John Nelms runs a one-man show. So even though there's a board of directors, it just seems to be that he speaks to Strachan, and then the decision-making happens after that. And a lot of the appointments have been Strachan-esque. So Mark McGee was another one that was, some of his comments were slightly less ridiculous than the ones that Stephen Presley's made. And I think for me, it's not just about the team and what he's producing, it's the whole image of the club. It just, from the outside looking in, it just must look like it's nuts, and it is nuts. And it's that pride and self-respect that we've kind of lost. So the guys on the park are going to need to just roll their sleeves up and regain some of that, I think. But
Stuart,
no, I don't understand some of the appointments.
I was going to say, Stuart, I haven't seen the game yesterday, but some of that I was really impressed with last week against Celtic, and I think a lot of fans were, was that young laddie Congreve. He looks a really exciting prospect. He's full of energy, full of drive, full of creativity. He's somebody that Dundee have to be looking at as someone that's a very, very good prospect, because I was very impressed with him last week.
But again, Graham, he was brilliant last week, but Falkirk had the makings of him yesterday. They doubled up on him. And you got to remember how young he is. So against Livingston, he was pretty electric when he came on and kind of won the match for us in that day. You've mentioned how much impact he had last week. But then again, it was half a game, and he was substituted later on in the match. But when he was on, it was just, he turned it. He made both goals in effect. But got to remember his age. But again, he's on loan, so he's not a permanent signing. So there's a real danger come January he could be pulled back. So the more he plays on live matches and they can see how he's doing, then we're less inclined to want him to play good in these games. We're just wanting him to do it when he's away at Falkirk or some other place where nobody's going to notice it so much. But not make a monkey out of Kieran Tierney, who he gave a torrid time to last week, to be honest.
Sure, I know you need to go now. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, you're very welcome, lads. I'm sorry I've got to go. I've got family stuff this afternoon, so that's where I'm away to head now. I'm away to get my marigolds on and get stuck into the kitchen and make that meal. But it was a good catch up, guys, and great match today. Congratulations, Graham. Well deserved, and we'll just need to see. It could be a turning point in the Scottish game. Let's see, because I can remember the last time it nearly happened. I was there at Dens Park and Albert Kidd Day, so I can remember.
Didn't mention that.
Yeah, I know. I was there, Graham. I was there that day. I can still remember actually. Just the wee anecdote before I go was the. I'll never forget the atmosphere that day. I think the crowd was something like 29,000, 27 or 29,000 or something. It was a brilliant crowd. And the Hearts fans were really up. And at half time when the teams came out, I remember the Tannoy announcer announcing the score from St Mirren Park, being, I think it was 4-0 Celtic at that point, I'm pretty sure. But it was right in the middle of the Hearts song. You guys were all singing, and you just felt it flatten when they heard the halftime score. It was that, that Celtic shadow seemed to hang over the second half, and then we all know what happened after that. Albert turned up and spoiled the party. Yeah. Oh well. Well, fingers crossed for you, Graham. It doesn't happen that way this season, because I think the game could do with it. Yeah. Because after that, of course, came the Graham Souness Ibrox revolution, and the game's never been the same since. So we all know. Who knows what would have happened had Hearts won the league that day? Who knows? Anyway. Okay, guys.
Thank
you, Stuart.
Okay. Take care. Okay. Bye-bye.
So, I know Robbie is watching the Rangers match just now. Robbie, tell us about how the Rangers game started.
Well, it started all Rangers as you probably expect. First couple of minutes, Rangers were driving forward. Asgard, I think, looked a lot more creative than it probably did under Martin. But Kilmarnock had the first shot. It was Darkers. I think the ball bobbled her in just before the edge of the box. He had a pop shot straight down the throat of Jack Butland, and bar that, there's not been too much to say, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, Graham, I don't know if there's anything else you want to mention about the match that obviously just happened there, but I mean,
Regan, if I can just say, quickly, Hibs have taken the lead against Aberdeen at Pedodra.
Oh, there we go. Robbie, sorry, Robbie, who's scored for Hibs?
Let me just try and find it.
No problem. So, Graham, is there anything else you want to mention in terms of the match versus Celtic today?
Well, I would say that again. I thought Lawrence Shanklin and Cledo Braga were excellent. Again, Shanklin's press was very impressive, especially the second half. At 3-1 up, he's chasing a ball back to the left back position. I think he looks so much better when he's got runners around him. But honestly, again, him and Braga's work rate, they just never let Celtic really settle defensively. But it's such a big win. Again, I keep on talking about it. It's very early days. But to be 8 points clear at the top after this early stage, it's testament to Derek McKenna, it's testament to the Jamestown stuff. And of course, Tony Bloom was there today. He'll have thoroughly enjoyed that. It switched to the crowd at one point. Tony Bloom was there. He was loving it. Honestly, there's such a great atmosphere in Tynecastle just now. But if you go back 12 months, that was just completely in the mud. We were going nowhere. We had no direction. It's such a massive difference. And I'm loving it. I'm loving life with a Hearts fan just now. Why not?
Yeah, and obviously, I'm glad to rebrand the Wednesday night's match. We've got the Scottish Football Zone derby. I mean, that's going to be a great match to be involved in, guys.
No, at one point it's no when you're taking on top of the league Hearts who are running rampant against everybody, especially when we are missing guys like Gogic. I think, Graham, I know what you're saying. It is always a hard game, and if I'm being really, really honest, I'm really, really nervous to take on Hearts. I can't see it more than a point in this game for us, and I love to be more optimistic and come on and go, I will go and take them to the sort of team that's just put 3 past Celtic, but everything right now has gone the opposite way for us, and if we are going to do it, we're going to need to be at our absolute best, which I don't think we have been this season. So if I'm a Hearts fan coming through Paisley on Wednesday, I'm absolutely buzzing at the thought of playing us right now. I
haven't seen the actual game yesterday. Was it just, did the sending off just completely change, or was St Mirren that bad? Because I've not seen the highlights yet.
I've think in the last 3 games, we've obviously lost the last 3. I think we've been good in every one of them. And it's just moments. Richardson's red card against Aberdeen completely switches it. Again, the red card for Gogic completely switches the game. And I just think it's a mixture of things. I mean, we're hitting 23 shots and only getting 3 on target. That's far from good enough for a football team. And when you're hitting 23 shots away from home, you've got to be looking to try and wrap the game up at that point. And I just think Robinson, at this point, we need to start switching things. It's something that I don't think we've really had today under Robinson at all in the last couple of years. I think it's always sort of been gone the one way, but we've took 3 bad results. I think we've got to start getting our wingers involved a bit more. I think that's one of the things he's going to change on Wednesday, which I don't know why we didn't try that at the weekend, because now we've got 2 really big games and we can't really afford to be messing about with the system and the tactics at this time. You know, it's 2 crucial games to our season. So we're in a bit of trouble right now. I'm not going to hit the panic button and, you know, like some fans, I've seen a lot online, a lot of fans really questioning the team and stuff, but I don't think we're at that point yet. We just need to try and get this season back on track and start picking up the points again.
Yeah, I mean, Graham, I'm going to put this to you, right? Because I said to Michael that I expect the other side of Edinburgh to beat Aberdeen today and then beat Rangers on Wednesday, right? So surely if that goes to plan and you win on Wednesday, I think a 16-point deficit, surely you've got to be start dreaming.
I'll be honest, mate, I think I've said this before. We could get to April with about 5-6 games to go, 10 points clear, and I would still not be confident. I really wouldn't be. I'm enjoying life just now as a Hearts fan, but there's still so many games to get played. As long as we can keep winning, then fantastic. And I keep on saying this. Everyone is expecting us to fall, and that might happen. But like I said before, we will not go Aberdeen level of falling apart last season. And quite clearly that's been shown now. Because at no point were Aberdeen 8 points clear last season. We've got a very good squad. We've got a fantastic manager. We've got players to come back. You've got guys like Chesnikov coming in January. We've got such a good squad, but it's just about keeping on winning. We have to keep on winning. But again, I keep talking about this. I know Robert's talked about it there. But our record in Paisley is not fantastic. That is such a hard game against a team that probably have the angriest fans I have ever heard in my life. It's going to be a very tough game. If we can get even a point out of that, I would take a point right now from Paisley. I would take a point right now going at those 2 home games. It's going to be such a tough game.
Just to update, it was Clegia that scored the goal for Hibs. But you know what, everybody, I don't think enough people are talking about, guys. Everybody's talking about where the Hearts might fall. I'm looking at, right, if we look at Celtic's prime run until January the 3rd when they play Rangers, right, they're travelling away to grounds like Motherwell, Livingston, Dundee United, Falkirk. They're travelling to Hibs, they're travelling to St Mirren. When are we going to stop talking about where the Hearts are going to drop points and start talking about how big the gap's going to be come January? Because it might not be a case of Hearts are dropping form, it might be a case of Celtic are going to be even further behind Hearts by the time we get to January.
See, to be honest with you, Robbie, I quite agree with you. I don't think that. I don't think there might be a title race by the time January comes, because I think Rangers are that bad, and I think Celtic are that bad as well. You know.
Can I also just say one more thing? And I posted this on Twitter. Now it's something that's really annoyed me today, even though we won 3-1. Can we please stop this Chris Boyd, Chris Sutton crap on Sky Sports News? Because it's doing my head in. Every single week, it's about them, the argument between them. Is that what Sky Sports really want? Today, it was embarrassing. And I posted it on Twitter. It's getting worse every week. Is that what I'm paying my money for Sky Sports for? To see those two arguing? It was embarrassing, and it's every week. So please, can we stop this every week? Because it's getting annoying.
It's bad. It's really, really bad. It's the same narrative every single time, and they're just going around in circles. It's not even like they're getting the bottom to any of these debates. They're just finishing up with taking these sly digs at each other. I completely agree with you. I think with the way the Scottish game is, and you know, I think, I mean, I know everybody has opinions on Sutton and Boyd, but I think they're both good pundits on their own right, at least some of the time. But there's so many names in the Scottish game now, even with the big major TV companies, that actually do a really good job at covering this game, and I don't think enough of them are getting the recognition that they should be.
Yeah, I think there's better people on TikTok and YouTube than there is on mainstream media, to be honest with
Did
you
they
guys.
tell David Martindale that'll be raging about that? He doesn't like YouTubers. Did he say that to him?
David Martindale really doesn't like YouTubers, but there's a lot of better people covering the game, and I don't want to just sit and watch. You're right, Graham. I don't want to pay my money to sit and watch Chris Boyd and Chris Sutton argue about the Celtic board every week. Like, it's no, why we no talking about Hearts? Why we no spending our time talking about how good a job Derek McInnes has done or how good a job Tony Bloom's put into Hearts, all the hard work that he's put in, but why are we not talking about the players? There's so many better things to talk about. I think David Martindale summed it up really well. We spend a lot of time talking about the negatives in Scottish football instead of touching on the positives.
See what Graham was saying there about Celtic front going to like Fir Park and St Mirren and places like that, right? See, in terms of that, Robbie, I mean, I'm not actually thinking Celtic are going to go there and get the 3 points, and that just shows you, obviously, that Motherwell are a good team, St Mirren are a good team, but also Celtic don't look as if they can score many goals.
No, Celtic just look really, really flat, and you just wonder what point it gets to. When do we start having discussions about some of the players in that team? And Reagan, I completely understand your point, by the way. Like, there is players in there that are unfairly in that Celtic team and shouldn't be there. It's not their fault. They're flung into games away at Tynecastle to try and close the gap on Hearts. But there is players in there that should take blame for that type of performance. There's players in there that have been brought in with big big money, and I know it's not exactly their fault, but they're there to try and win games, and some of these players just aren't doing it.
Yeah, I mean, you look at...
From a Celtic point of view, I mean, you've got on Wednesday Falkirk at home, a game that, yes, Celtic should win comfortably, but surely the fan base is going to be, I mean, I don't know how big the fan base will be on Wednesday, but that's a massive game for Celtic. If they chop points in that game to Falkirk at home, that's huge. I can't remember the last time Celtic lost 2 Premier League games in a row, but now they've lost against Dundee and lost against Hearts. That game on Wednesday becomes massive now for Celtic.
Yeah, Graham, I would say if Celtic lose on Wednesday, I think there'll be more than balls on the pitch. I think you would even say that you would even go a long way and say that if Hearts then go to St Mirren Park and win, then it's going to be a long old season for Celtic.
Rangers have just taken the lead against Kilmarnock. I believe it was Cornelius that turned it in after a James Tavernier free kick. I think they're VAR checking it for a potential offside. It looks quite close. So,
See the thing, Graham, that I said to Robbie earlier, right? See, if you look at players like Yang, like Shin, like Dane Murray, no disrespect to them, but these guys should be nowhere near a Celtic team. They're not good enough.
No, I would agree. And actually,
Nowhere
listen,
near.
don't get me wrong. This is no disrespect to the guy because he's been a fantastic player. But when Celtic are still bringing on a guy like James Forrest at 3-1 down, that to me says where Celtic are. Again, he offered very little when he came over. That's not down to him. But, I mean, Celtic just looked... Again, I know they've got injuries. I know that. They had guys like Dane Murray and Donovan at the back. But I just think going forward, for me, Celtic don't do enough going forward. Again, watching that game today, and I said it to you a couple of days ago when we did the podcast, Celtic's main threat is Chunetsky. He's the main threat. He's the one that gets everything going. If you stop him from playing, or McGregor, you stop Celtic, they've got nothing going forward. Absolutely nothing going forward.
Yeah, I mean, surely there must be somebody in the B team that can come in because the squad right now is not looking very good. But how much...
Surely that's unfair though. That surely flinging a B team player into a situation that, let's be honest, let's say it how it is. It's toxic at Celtic right now between the fans, the board, the manager.
Well,
Surely,
but who else is there? Who else is there to put the ball in the net? No one.
it's a good point, but you go back to last week. Ian Atchell's on the pitch. That's a prime example of a guy that should be able to put the ball in the net. I know what you said. There's players this week that I don't think should be fronting in that pitch. I don't think they should be even in the picture because the manager should have done a better job. But you go back to games like last week. Celtic should have enough to go and beat Dundee in that game. It's really bad that they didn't.
Yeah, I totally get your point, Robbie, but I just don't see a regular goal scorer in that team. I don't see a regular goal scorer. I don't see somebody. You see like Shankland or somebody from Hearts. You go, right, he's going to score regular goals. I don't see a regular goal scorer for Celtic.
See, one thing I will say that I did agree with on the Sky Sports News argument thing is the fact that I actually agree with Neil Lennon. See, if you're a player in that dressing room and you're hearing your manager coming out and talking about like cars and stuff, you must be thinking to yourself, well, he clearly doesn't rate me, so why am I here? I'm not. I think actually I actually think Chris Sutton said it. Why would you run through a brick wall for a guy like that who's basically said you are bang average? That's not a good look for Celtic for me. So I did agree with that point.
I tell you something, Graham, though, I think Neil Lennon's got an absolute cheek, because Neil Lennon said a lot of those things during the lockdown season. He said a lot of those things. I remember Ferencvaros for us when he said that nobody at the club is at that level, and he threw the players under the bus every single match. You know? And I think Neil Lennon forgets as well that he led the Celtic team to 25 points behind. I don't care that people say that of course there was no crowd or whatever, but he led a Celtic team to be 25 points behind a bang average Rangers team.
I think the next week is probably the biggest week I think Brendan Rodgers will have in his managerial career. I think if he doesn't get 2 wins in these next 2 games, including the semi-final of Rangers, I think you've got to start having conversations about his job being on the line. I really do. I'd surprised most Celtic fans aren't saying that already, to be honest.
Okay, Robbie, then, well, I'll swing the argument back to you then, right? Who would you bring in? Because Celtic's ideas at the moment is, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm telling you right now, Celtic would go for Scott Brown. Celtic would go for Scott Brown. Celtic as a club have no ambition. They have no ambition to go out and get a good manager. They will go for Scott Brown. They do not want to go and have ambition. So if it's me, Robbie, I'm sticking with Brendan Rodgers, because Scott Brown is not the answer.
All right, I'd agree. I don't think Scott Brown is the answer. What I would say is, though, I think the Celtic ball will fling everything at Ange again. I do. And that's not a step forward, by the way, and bringing Ange back. That is a step backwards. But I think they would fling everything they've got to get Ange back.
I think you're spot on there, Robbie, in terms of Ange Postecoglou being back. But you look at the squad. Who's Ange going to go in there and go, right, he's my guy? Who's he going to do it with?
That's the name manager's got that right now. So at the end of the day, there's only so long you can back Brendan Rodgers. If the results don't turn around the next couple of days, the board might not have much choice than to sack him.
Do you know what I would say, right? And this is obviously hindsight because we won the game. But I look at that starting 11 today from Hearts against Celtic. I actually wouldn't take many Celtic players from that first 11 into that Hearts team. I genuinely wouldn't.
I said that to my friend earlier. I said, see, the Hearts squad is stronger. The Hearts squad is stronger than Celtic.
I actually thought our bench was stronger than Celtic as well.
See if you go through the full squad and you say, right, so in the backs, I'm taking Craig Halkett, Stuart Finlay. In the midfield, I don't think Real's looking great at the moment. I think Devlin's looking well. You look at the attacking players, I take everyone from Hearts as well. So I think people need to wake up and see that a lot of the problems are down to Brendan Rodgers, but a lot of the problems have been down to the Celtic board as well, because the ambition that they've got for the club is clearly not there. Because
I think you can look at. I honestly think, Reagan, I agree. You can look at. I think you can look at it both ways. I think you can put the blame on the board and the players, because at the end of the day, Rodgers is working with what he's got, and at the end of the day, the players just aren't cutting it. Graham's right. I think it was Sutton saying it after the full-time result. I don't think many of the players do get into the Hearts starting 11, and that probably worries Celtic, to be honest. And usually you're looking at these midweek games at home and you're going, right, that's obviously going to be a Celtic win. I mean, I remember last season when I think Celtic put 7 past Dundee in one of the midweek games. But I'm truly looking at Wednesday and going, how comfortable is that actually going to be?
Probably
we are bringing a guy in a G for £1.7 million off the bench, and Celtic are bringing on James Forrest. I mean, does that not tell you how bad Celtic are?
Probably the best thing for Celtic is to try and be in touching distance by January, because I don't think they're going to be close by. Because like Graham said earlier, I don't think that this team is going to just fall off. And I don't think they are.
No, I don't think they're far off either. I think the most likely scenario is we get to January and you'll find Celtic have dropped more points than Hearts have, especially considering the fact Celtic are currently playing in 2 more competitions than Hearts are playing in. So I think when you factor all that in, Graham, I know it's hard. I know a lot of Hearts fans are getting carried away with this, and they're no yet still saying it's a title race and all this. But if you're a Hearts fan, you've got to be feeling confident with the way things are going right now in Scottish football. Looking, not even just with your team, if you're looking at Rangers and Celtic, you've got to be feeling pretty optimistic that they're going to drop more points.
That's a really, really good point you've made there, Rob, about European football. I think it's a massive bonus for us. And I said at the start of the season, the fact that Aberdeen, Hibs at the start were in European football, Rangers, Celtic, they're all in European football. We don't have that. We can concentrate on the league, which we didn't really have last season. It's a massive bonus because we're not playing every Thursday, Sunday. It's a massive bonus for us. I think that's a huge thing for us. But again, I keep talking about the strength and depth we've got. Look at that bench today that we had to bring people off. Ajew came on. You've got guys like Magnuson who's not getting a chance. You've got Cabangu off the bench. Wilson wasn't on the bench. You've not got the right back, Butch Grevink, on the bench yet. Our squad is so strong. And I've said it before about the standard being raised. The standard is high at Hearts just now. Derek McInnes has said so many times he will not accept lazy days in training. And you're seeing that in match days now. There's no laziness. There's no wondering about. Everyone's on it. But honestly, that not having European football is a massive bonus for us. I think it's huge.
Robbie, I know that we need to go soon, but I just want to ask you: do you guys feel like the Celtic board, particularly, have been very arrogant in terms of I think they potentially looked at that season and thought that squad's going to be good enough to beat a bang average Rangers team, and not even for the Hearts.
Well, no, look, it was too. I think in terms of the way last season went, I don't think anybody could have seen maybe Hearts being in this position. I don't think that's too wild to say. I think if anything, people were maybe looking at Hibs or Aberdeen to be up at this position at this point, if you base it on the way last season went. But I agree with you. I think, Regan, I think the rest of the league gets overlooked by everybody. I truly do. I don't think this is just a Celtic thing. I think a lot of people just look at every other team bar Rangers and Celtic this season, and every other season as well. So I'm absolutely buzzing that we've actually got a challenge now in Scottish football. I'm buzzing that Tony Bloom's came in. He's went, right, we're going to do this. I know he said about 10 years, but I might not even need the 10. He might only need 1 at this point. And he's, him, McInnes and the rest of the team have really built a good team. That's, I think, how I describe it. I think it's a really, really good Hearts team that just flow with confidence right now. They don't look like they can be beat. They don't look like they can be stopped. And I think this could genuinely be the season.
Graham, I'm going to go in about 2 minutes' time. Just tell me your final thoughts on that match at time capsule.
Absolutely buzzing, mate. I said we'd win before the game, but I said 2-1. But I thought after about the first 8 minutes, Celtic the better team, but then we came back into the game, and I thought second half we were the far better side. Deserved to win the game, but it is a magnificent win. To be 8 points clear at this stage, nobody expected this. It's a long, long season, though, 29 games to go, but the confidence is flying through that team. Honestly, Paisley next, big opportunity here. But yeah, honestly, as a Hearts fan, I am loving it right now, and I hope we can keep it going. Because what a start has been.
Aye, and if I can just say before we wrap things up, I hope Jim Goodwin's pillows are warm tonight because he deserves it after yesterday's actions and every other time he's beaten with Dundee United.
I'm glad Robbie got his bit in about his pal there. But thank you for everybody that's joined us. There's over 120 live. Thank you very much, and please subscribe to the Scottish Football Zone. That show will also be out in a podcast as well now. So please make sure you subscribe to the podcast channel as well. And thank you to Robbie and Graham for joining me.
Cheers.
Come on, Hearts!
You're watching the Scottish Football Zone with all the build-up and reactions.